What up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to 100 Hours Club. On this one, I've been just kind of thinking and I just kind of reminiscing. And it's like, there's some good things I've gone through, there's some bad things, and there's some things that is just damn. And I'm gonna take you to one night in the Southside. Um, Back in the day, my brother was a part of a car club, and I when Fast and the Furious came out, I that movie was like so important to me and my brother, and I don't know as much to them, but it was very important to me because we were like living that, not on a scale of Fast and the Furious, but a little, a quarter of a scale, because we used to, back in the day, I didn't have a car. I was with my brother all the time. So every time we would meet up with this car, with the car club, I would just, get scattered, and it'd be like at the end of the night, I would make sure that I made it back to my brother to get home with him. You dig? But we would go out there, and they would, off of 1604, we were off a military drive in San Antonio, Texas, and then we would drive to off of 1604 by Palo Alto, and they would race. As people would race and cops would come, everybody would get in the car, and boom, we scattered, and then we meet somewhere. You dig? So it was fun. It was really fun back in the day. But one night, my brother and I think a couple of people, we were in the South Side. They threw a party, and shout out my OG, shout out my OG. He was there too, and I think he was a part of it. My OG, man, that he knew how to throw some. He knew how to throw parties, like real talk, and so he was a part of it as well. But yeah, man, we were. I remember we was like just straight chilling. Like I was like I was gone. Like I was so high. I was so that's what I remember, because the whole night we were just like rolling up, and I remember my cousin being there, my best friend was there, and we was just chilling. It was just one of those. It was just a good vibe, and we're there rolling up, and all we hear is pop pop pop, and then pop 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 pop, and like as we hear shots, they just kind of start to get louder and louder. You know what I mean? And not necessarily louder, but just more and more. And it's like, what the hell? Like, and I remember we were rolling up, and the homie that I was rolling up with, I was just like, hey fool, like just drop that, let's go. Like, and like, cause we were like in a long yard. So like, and we were like kind of in the front. That's where kind of everybody was at. It was like in the front of the yard, and the yard still had a lot to go to the back. So like we're there, like we're at the front, and then the shots start going off, and we're like, what? Like, because the only thing that's separating us from shots is like a private fence. So if they ended up turning the gun, like, you know what I mean? Like if they ended up turning if they ended up turning from the direction they were shooting at, it could have gone sideways. Like we're there, like I said, we were there. We was like, I tell the homie, like, yo man, like just know that, man, we good, we got more, let's just keep going, like let's just get out of here. Like, so we're just like kind of like everybody's just kind of running to the back. Like this is like everybody's kind of panicking, running to the back. And I remember my best friend, like like I was running, and he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, nah, I'm trying to get the hell out of here. Like get the hell out of here, fool. Like, you hear this? And he's like, nah, bro, we're from the west side. We hear this all the time. And I was like, yeah, bro, but this literally, like, let's just get out of here. He was at the keg. So I'm like, okay, cool. And it was funny because I had one of my cousins there. And it's not funny, but it's funny now that I think about it, because my, my cousin was there. and he was with this, he was with this one girl, and like this fool left him behind. Like he he like yo. I don't know why I'm laughing so hard. Pause. like they, like they were running and like he had her hand and like he let her hand go and just started running. I'm like, yo, dog, like what? And like I'm observing all of this as I'm running and all you do is jump over a private gate and wherever. So after that, I was able to get over the private gate, and I don't know what happened. I don't know how I ended up back, like in front of the house, and obviously I was there. I had got back when the smoke had settled, because as soon as I walk in, my brother's like, "Where the hell you been at? Like we're looking, we've been looking for you, and where'd you go?" And I'm like, "I jumped the gate. Like where did y'all go? Like what are y'all talking about?" And as I'm there, as my brother's telling me this, I'm looking and I see a female on the floor. And I'm just like, because you got to think about it, like I was super high. Like I was super high. And of course, I wasn't still high, but because of like with all the adrenaline, with everything just running, you know what I mean? I was just kind of like, what's going on? Like what's going on? And sure enough, they were like, there was a female that was laying on the floor. I believe someone was trying to like do CPR, and I kind of was just like looking over, like, and then kind of like I had like I like I was close, like I was probably like right here, they were probably like right there, and that's why like I was close, so I was kind of like I didn't really notice what was going on. Then I like stepped back, and when I stepped back, that's when I was able to observe what was going on. That's when, like I said, I think someone was giving CPR, like just someone was holding her, and sure enough, like I look back and I see my best friend just kind of like with his head down, and sure enough, what happened was my buddy he invited a female to the party. Well, the female that he invited came with some friends, and the friends that she came with had issues with people at the party. So what happened from what I was told and from what I could remember, from what happened is they walk into the party and she's kind of just telling everybody hi, or telling the people she knew hi, and like telling my buddy hi, you know what I mean? And when her friends get there, they see the people they're not cool with, and they tell her like, "Hey, we're gonna go to the car. Like, we'll be back." So they're gonna go to they went to the car, and I guess the people that saw them, the people that they saw that didn't like them, saw them leaving to the car. So what do is they come out, and so versus so to not let them come back in, pretty much. And so they they go out, and in the midst of the two groups seeing each other and start firing at each other, the girl that my best friend invited walks out, like pretty much walks in the middle of this. Like she walks out and this is starting to happen, like this happens. And that's how she ended up getting shot. And from like when it was all said and done, they said the bullet that shot her was one of her friend's bullet. And I know there was a trial. I don't remember names. I don't remember that, but that was just one of them nights and one of them things that you kind of remember. And like I said, you know, like I did smoke a lot, and there's things that I do remember, there's things that I don't remember. But for the most part, and of course, the older you get, it just kind of fades away. But like I said, I remember because even my brother's car was on. Like my brother's car was parked in the front, and when the news, like his car was right in the front on the news, like he couldn't even get to his car, like it was wild. And like I said, like seeing that, and like I said, whether you're drunk, whether you're stoned, whether whatever, when you see someone laying down, you're gonna observe, you're gonna like be like, wait, what? And that's what I did, and sure enough, that's what I saw, and it was like, man, like, and it was crazy because like my buddy had just told me what he told me, and it was like, man, like you never think anything like that's gonna happen, and especially as far as how close he and the female were, I'm not too sure, but you know, it did hurt him, and then it was just like, man, but to think like you have to be careful regardless regardless if you're young, regardless if you're old, you got to be careful who you hang out with, and you got to be careful on who people have beefs with, because you just don't want to put yourself in that position, and you don't want to put yourself in harm's way. And you know, like I said, when we used to go out there, it was like, not saying that my brother being in the car club there was a lot of beefs, but people back in the day, it's like people would hate for no reason, I guess you could say. And then because you think about it now, a lot of people that hate it are like kind of cool with each other, you know what I mean? Because it's like you grow up, you get older, but when you're young, and especially like we had so many like hanging out spots. I think just recently they're starting to bring military back. But back in the day, we had military, we had downtown, we had Brackenbridge, we had so many kickback spots where we were able to go and just chill, and just like Military Drive, man. Back in the day, you had females stripping on the strip, and everything was cool. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying like might sound raunchy, but what I mean, it was like it was just people having fun, and it was just a culture thing. Like if you know about if you're from San Antonio and you know about Military Drive, then you know your teenage years was awesome. You know, like, because that's where it was at, man. It was like you just cruising. Sometimes you go till one, sometimes you go until two. The crazy thing about it, that this was a Sunday. This is what we did on a Sunday, from Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's what we were doing. We were just partying. We were just having fun, and I'm very grateful for my brother for bringing me along on those journeys. That's one of few parties that we went to that, you know, and it's crazy because, like I said, how things happen and why it happened, I have no idea. But these are stories that I remember, and these are things that I've gone through, and it's just like, if anybody out there has a story and they want to talk, they want to say the story, yo, holla at me. I'll put you on my podcast, and I'll let you. You don't gotta do anything. All I'll do is mic you up, give you a mic, and let you talk. You don't gotta edit. You don't gotta do nothing. I'll do the work for you, because you know what? What everybody has been through, you know, it's a positive, man. Whether, like I said, whether it's a good thing, whether it's a bad thing, if you had experiences, you had experience, you had life experience, and I honestly think that's the biggest gift that you could ever have. And I really appreciate everybody listening to me as I tell a little story from back in the day, back when I was doing my thing, back when I was just partying, back when I was just being dumb. You dig? But you live, you learn, you grow, and you hold it down. But I really appreciate y'all, ladies and gentlemen. 100 Hours Club. I am your host, Nesto. Holla.